Hello, gorgeous Pisces, and welcome to August 2020, and a month that is very much about directional energy, focused energy, clarifying energy, honest energy, inventive energy. And that's a big note coming up for the collective at this time. August just has this kind of big vision clarity, and I think our movement through Leo season and into Virgo season helps us with that tremendously at this time. For you all, this is an interesting time of year because as we move through Leo season, this is going to be all about reconnecting with your rituals, reconnecting with your spiritual practice as it is in your physical body, in what you do in the world, and how you connect with that, and how you find balance and harmony in being in the physical. But then a lot of energy starts to move toward Virgo as we move through August, and we start to get into your opposing sign of Virgo, and this is what I call mirror season, where we tap into whenever we have the sun opposing us, our energy. It helps us see ourselves more clearly. It helps us harmonize, rebalance, understand who we are from that oppositional perspective. It's a really great time of reflection, renewal, reconnection. And so you have some energy here on your side that is all about harmonizing, rebalancing, and shifting your perspective in those little detailed ways that allow you to move forward in life from who you are now, not who you were before this year, not who you were even in July, but to move forward in August with who you are now, with what tools you have now, with however life has changed or molded over the last few months, over the course of this very powerful and intense 2020. What do we have now to work with? That is going to be the big question coming through for you all. So I'm going to start shuffling, and let's talk through some of the big transits. Now, August, we can all just take a breath because August is there isn't all this eclipse action. There aren't huge planetary shifts going on where they're changing signs. There's not retrogrades like Venus and Mercury or even Mars, though Mars is slowing down for a retrograde starting in September. There's a lot more kind of basic energy to work with this month. And I think that is very helpful sometimes to not always have it be total revolution all the time. However, right out of the gate, we have a full moon in Aquarius. Now, this is in your 12th house. This is very spiritual energy for you. This moon in general is very inventive. It's very much doesn't want to play by the rules, wants to look for solutions beyond the obvious. Now, because it's in a spiritual part of your experience, it's the sign right before you. This is going to be a time where you may get really beautiful answers, really vivid answers, kind of from unexpected places, from behind the scenes, things getting, two cards wanted to come out. I love it. Speaking of the Aquarius full moon, Knight of Wands and the Star. Okay, we're getting somewhere here. This moon wants to bring about surprising revelations, ability to see things from a new perspective. Once again, Aquarius wants us to try and do things not with the status quo tools, not with what we've been trained to already do, but to do things a little differently. And this full moon is a huge invitation to that. And you'll be doing that on the spiritual side of things. We also have Mercury moving through Leo this month, which, Sun and Mercury are going to be moving through Leo, activating the sixth house thing of how do you want to be physically in this world? What do you want your personal rhythms to look like, your rituals to look like, your routines to look like? How do you want to show up with this body in this life? That's the question that comes up whenever sixth house is highlighted. We also have Venus moving through Cancer this month, which, so good to have Venus moving through Cancer. I love this energy. It is so loving and nurturing. And here for you, this lights up your fifth house. It's so romantic and connective and creative and flowing. So I really love that. You might find that you get into a creative rhythm during this month. Emperor. Okay, we've got some very strong energy here for you, Pisces. These are not just sit back and see what happens and wait for the Queen of Pentacles. wait for your answers. A lot of the energy here is very much proactive, is very creative, is very invested, is very connective. So you may be finding that you do have bursts of energy this month. That's really behind you. Okay, Four of Swords. Just as I said, there's a lot of go-getter energy. At the end here, we have a couple of cards that are very soft and culminating and reflective. Okay, so let's finish talking through this. So Venus in Cancer during August is going to be so good for you. I think you're going to really enjoy that transit. And then, we get close to the end of Leo season. We have a new moon in Leo. More of this sixth house rebalancing, harmonizing with how you want to connect to your physical body, how you want to connect to physically being here in the world, how you want to write that into something that feels empowering to you if you've been feeling disempowered by being in the physical, or if you've been feeling discouraged by being in the physical. This is a month to really reconnect with that and to help you find new ways of connecting to the physical again. And then as we move into Virgo season on the 22nd, Mercury moves into Virgo on the 20th, the Sun moves into Virgo on the 22nd. We are starting to get into that mirror season. Now this is really reciprocal energy. Virgo energy really helps you to heal, to connect. It lights up your axis of the Pisces Virgo axis of healing, of ascension, of that goddess priestess type energy. So it's really beautiful for you. I always look forward to working with your axis anytime that it comes up, because it is so important in the collective, honestly. And also just something to keep in mind, Mars is going to be doing a slowdown in August that will really rev up as a retrograde on September 9th. And Mars is working his way through Aries. He's just hanging out in Aries the rest of this year. And this is going to be, in your second house, right? It's going to be in your self-value and how you value your actions, how you value how you move through the world. And there's going to be a process here of you really owning your presence in the world. And actually, when I look at these cards, that theme's going to keep going the rest of this year. So just keep that in mind, that the things that are getting called up and out of you have a lot to do with you owning who you are. And this month, there's a big theme of that. There's a big theme of you owning completely who you are here and now. We start off with Knight of Wands. Okay, this guy is an adventurer, and this is a fiery, playful, see what happens, go for it, try, jump ahead, let it out energy, right? And the Knight of Wands can sometimes sweep through our lives to give us some kind of new understanding of something, right? They clear the path. Now you could be feeling as though you are the Knight of Wands. You're just trying stuff and going for stuff and feeling adventurous and seeing where that leads you. I think that's very likely. That type of energy, almost impulsive, could be coming up and out of you. You are mutable after all. This can also be somebody coming through your life to help you feel revitalized, feel excited, learning new things. Now, Knight of Wands comes through to give us inspiration. He doesn't come through to just sit still and kind of have everything be status quo. Knight of Wands wants to shake things up. And this is a very creative energy. Leo season is all about creativity. It's all about how we want to lead and move forward. It's all about owning our boldness. Once again, it's tied into how you're connecting with your physical. Are you feeling bold in your physical? Are you feeling disempowered in your physical? Do you want to feel emboldened being here on planet Earth in a physical body? How is that feeling for you? And Knight of Wands is speaking to that. Now, it's really interesting here because that is a very impulsive, playful, just see what happens, don't take anything too seriously type energy. But it is met here by the star, which is a very sacred energy. Now, the star, of course, is tied to getting your wish, tied into really letting yourself visualize what it is you want, but she's also tied to deep healing. She's also tied to, she's got these healing waters, right? She's the essence of heaven. She makes me think of many healing feminine archetypes, right, that come through to help us reconnect with our worth and our value and our beingness in the world. And the star also tends to take us beyond what we consider our comfort zone, because she knows that what's next for us is a learning curve, is something that we don't know exactly how to do yet, but is something that we desire. And it's beyond the pale of what we've experienced before. And there's a big theme here with these two, of blazing some trails moving forward for you that do not look completely familiar and may just feel like completely new adventures. These are very adventurous energies. And in fact, that kind of high intensity energy here continues with the Emperor. Now, the Emperor is tied to Mars and is tied to Aries. And like I said, there is this slowdown going on with Mars. And he's starting to connect his pre-shadow for his retrograde, which only happens every 2 years. And it's very rare in Aries. So this is a really potent retrograde. We will talk about that a lot more over on my Patreon. We're going to be doing a lot with it for the couple of months he's doing a retrograde, but also in September when we come back here. Now, the Emperor is that intense leadership energy, right? This is divine masculine father energy on a mission. And it is focused, laser cut, clear energy here. I think Knight of Wands star and Emperor all speak to kind of a clarity of vision, right? The path being open, the answers coming in that you are needing, that kind of fiery revolution that comes in our lives sometimes when we just need things to move and shift and change and to be clear, not to be muddy or to feel like we just have to sit back and wait. There's not very much waiting going on here, my friends, especially I think as we move through Leo season. It's a time for pieces to click in and for things to get clarified and for things to come full circle. There's a really strong sense of that in August, in fact. And when we get into Virgo season, we give you a moment here at the end of the month to really integrate whatever those first 3 weeks of August are bringing in for you, which is really wild and fiery. The Queen of Pentacles and Four of Swords is so much about integration, making sure you're nurturing yourself, connecting with yourself, giving yourself the time you may need to process or understand. You know, I often find all the cards here today, my beautiful Pisces, are very supportive of you moving forward in life. You know, these are cards that are infusing life force into your path. And, you know, I think we often think that when we start getting those answers, we start getting that movement, the things we've been wishing for, that suddenly the stress and the pressure is going to go away. But it's very interesting when really good things happen and we start to really feel in the flow of life again. It can also feel overwhelming. It can also feel like a lot of big emotions come up. It can also feel like I don't know how to do this in my state as I am now. And that's where I think the Queen of Pentacles and the Four of Swords is so important, because this is energy that has to do with that integration process. It's so natural. It's so important. And as we work through Virgo season, and we'll keep talking about this in September, you know, your relationships and how you connect and how you nurture those are going to be coming up more and more as well. And it's not requiring you here, you know, that part of the puzzle, the connective tissue, the creative tissue, isn't requiring you to like blast through life in full force. It's also asking for you to nurture things into being as well. So there's harmonizing and balancing going on here for you this month. And those were the words that came to mind for me. There can be harmony and balance, I think, between that fiery, mutable, creative side of yourself that wants to just try and go for things and break things open and have all of that creative flow, and that part of yourself that wants to nurture and listen and take your time and not be in such a rush. I think both elements are here this month, and your goal, your mission this month is going to be to listen to each of them and let them lead you forward. And don't resist the oscillation between the two, because you are definitely working with a bit of an oscillation between these two very different ways of creating in the world. And they're both valid and they're both wonderful. Just make sure you give yourself those little moments of integration and locking in before, if you're feeling like you need to stay in Emperor mode or Star mode or Knight of Wands mode all the time, that is just not sustainable and it's not necessarily a goal. So I'm just going to leave you with that little note. Like I said, August is a clarifying month. It's a very strong, focused month. So it will be a time of forward motion in many ways. Even though a lot of the outer planets are retrograde, including Uranus, I didn't even mention that earlier. Uranus is going retrograde this month on August 15th until the first day of 2021. So most of the outer planets are retrograde at this point, but we are out of Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde shadows. We're out of eclipse season, so we're in a bit more of a flow here this month. If you want more support for this Mars retrograde coming up and all the energies we are working with this second half of 2020, because it is a really powerful year, I have so many resources over on Patreon and an amazing community of people. To those of you who are already there with me, you know what I'm talking about. Thank you to you. We have such beautiful discussions. The things that we share over in that community are so amazing. I come every week with our weekly astrology discussion. I also am going to be spending a lot of times on Mars and healing the Martian part of ourselves, healing the inner masculine. We're going to be doing a lot with that. We get just deeper into these topics, deeper into the messages coming through. It's a really affordable way to connect with me, and I would love to see you over there. So I'll leave that link below. And of course, I'm wearing PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry. Wear it every day. If you're looking for something beautiful, she's always coming up with new designs and unique things. I'll leave her link below as well. You can find me on Instagram and on my website at sarahverba.com, and I will leave all my info below. I love you all so, so much. If this has helped you in any way, you can subscribe and like, and I would love to see you here again. Have a beautiful August, my gorgeous Pisces. I love you so much.